House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is drawing a line in the sand, vowing to fight against President Trump's proposed cuts to federal programs. With the government funding set to expire next month, the risk of a shutdown looms large. At the center of the debate is Trump's push to slash federal spending, which Democrats argue could devastate social programs like Medicaid, food assistance, and housing aid. Jeffries is particularly concerned about the administration's willingness to bypass Congress in cutting funds, as seen in Trump's recent order to freeze federal aid. This decision sparked backlash and raised fears of further executive actions. Jeffries is now signaling that Democrats will refuse to support any budget deal that doesn't explicitly prevent similar moves in the future. On the other hand, Trump and his allies argue that aggressive spending cuts are necessary to rein in government waste and balance the budget. Republicans have defended the administration's approach, saying that federal programs need reform and that excessive government spending is unsustainable. Some of the proposed cuts include reducing Medicaid funding, cutting food assistance programs, and slashing housing aid. These cuts could have a devastating impact on millions of Americans who rely on these programs for essential services. Medicaid, for example, provides healthcare coverage to over 70 million Americans, including low-income families, children, and people with disabilities. Cutting Medicaid funding could leave these individuals without access to essential healthcare services. Food assistance programs, such as the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program (SNAP), provide critical support to families struggling to make ends meet. Cutting these programs could leave millions of Americans without access to nutritious food. Housing aid programs, such as Section 8 vouchers, provide essential support to low-income families struggling to afford housing. Cutting these programs could leave millions of Americans without access to affordable housing. The proposed cuts have sparked widespread outrage, with advocacy groups, lawmakers, and ordinary Americans speaking out against the measures.